How does the powwow fit into the concept of Indian identity, I suppose?
Well, it fits in this way. It gives Indians an opportunity to together, not only communities or reservations, but on a tribal level. We get a chance to invite Indians from different tribes to get together and to hold a powwow such as we're having here this weekend.
I guess it was mostly to revive something we call culture or tradition, a way of life of a people.
A lot of people say, when they hear Indians singing, they say, are there any words to them, Well, really, to us, that's music from the soul,
I think it must have been around 1960.
Yeah.
Somewhere there. Do you remember the Prime Minister at that time was Pearson? He came here, I think, in '63, didn't he?
In a helicopter, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I was just a little boy then. Cause we ran down to the ballpark to see the helicopter come down. Eh?
Oh yeah.
Back in those days, yeah. I guess who was all involved in that powwow, and what was the purpose of that powwow?
Well, I guess it was mostly to revive something we call culture or tradition, a way of life of a people.
Probably 1960, 61, somewhere around there. And getting involved in it, I graduated out of North Bay, and we went to Toronto, and I got involved with the Toronto Indian Dance Troupe with Wilfred Peltzy. So not only were we dancing like for shows and things like that, we also came up as dancers for Wiki, to support Wiki, yeah? So, and it became the thing to do, just like today, it's the thing to do. Giabugo, 50 years later, everybody puts those dates aside because it's the Wiki powwow, especially if you're from here. And it was a big deal because all my friends in Toronto, like all the Nishnabek, we would all, make sure that we had the days off. We all made sure that we had cars because we would come up in carloads to come up to Wiki to come and dance for the powwow. So it was a big deal.
I was involved in that first powwow. I brought those guys from out west. Emil Piepot from Piepot Reserve, and a few of his buddies, the ones that were willing to take a trip to come down here. Henry Ironchild, Willie Piga, and Nanipuish. Marion.
Yeah.
Marius, yeah.
Bemishki matchtang ni we power man we take me go Rosemary gap me ganset. They say dan got nang jonia. Na asge pi na kitage bandan ji man ge gip me na ki. As me so gap me bedegen in dan de
To paycheck.
To paycheck gap me bedegen. Ab tek schon mal ge gap mal ge ko chigi ni to ge se de ge ni de ka na kasang ni. We when I gave ma ba ko ye na kasp ni be no chien be coconut chin. Mi go
pinche petek.
Mi go pitch go na igo. Kapitchim ne akni. Jonia. Mi no ideben in dogi obejaji mi no ni wana kasang ni. Ni we naming ni. Basta ko napiwid na kami gagwana.
I remember a great powwow my grandfather put on, and my father, and it was very wonderful. They presented our real culture, and since then I have seen nothing like it.
Crystal Shawanda here, inviting you to my hometown of Wikwemikong to celebrate our 50th annual Cultural Festival on July 30th to August 2nd, and kicking off the weekend with me at my 3rd annual homecoming concert. Come and experience Eastern Canada's largest powwow, including an art exhibition and interactive cultural workshops. To honor our 50th anniversary, we'll have grand fireworks display on Sunday with a performance by Caribbean steel band Pan Fantasy. Come and enjoy the hospitality of the Wikwemikong Unceded Indian Reserve.
Well, of course, when I would come home, I would go to Aunt Grace's, right? And the way that my aunt was, she was always the kind of person who welcomes strangers to the community. That's the way she always was. And so, because I was home, I got to know some of the people that came to the Wiki Powwow. And so we became very good friends. So a lot of the people that came, you know, in those very early years were people particularly from Detroit. So there was, at our house, year after year in the early days, for instance, Hannah Akins, she and that whole family, and her children danced, Myrna and Larry. So that family always came to Wiki in those early years, and they stayed at our house. And then you had Tiflo Lucero and his son Joey, Teddy Left Hand. And then as the years went by, another one that came was Jose Marcus and his family. So they're all from the Detroit Indian Club. So I personally really got to know all those dancers that came from Detroit. And then we had the dancers from out west, Emil Pipot, and all the, you know, the grass dancers that came. And so got to know them as well. And then the other people that I remember being around in those early years were like special guests. Buffy came. She was still in the coffee houses in Toronto. So I got to know her at that time when she was still singing in the coffee houses. Elenise Bumpsuit. Elenise was up here. Continetta Horn, because there was a to-do between Elenise and Continetta in one of those years. So I think about, you know, those kinds of personalities that came to Wiki in those early years.
I know Emil Pipot was one.
Yeah.
This is where he met Buffy St. Marie, you know.
Oh yeah, he adopted Buffy, eh? Is that his?
No, that was his daughter.
Well, that is his daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he okay.
Yeah, and he met her here because Buffy came here to come to the powwow, and she sang at the powwow. Yeah, I met her down in Toronto. She was singing there.
At the festival, eh?
No, she was singing in a coffee house.
Oh, yeah. So you invited her over to
Yeah,
come
I
to the
invited her here, and then Rosemary looked after her here.
Stay at her house?
Yeah, well, Rosemary told her, make sure and get her to come, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So I talked to her down in Toronto, and she came up.
That year, eh?
Yeah, 2 years in a row she came.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The whole community was all involved. There was, you know, Ocean up on the hill there.
Mrs. Archie,
yeah.
Archie
Triddle, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay.
And then Mary Triddle was involved too. And
Mary Triddle.
Yeah.
Is that,
old Louis Triddle's...
oh, Chibibi they call her, eh?
Chibibi, yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's passed away since.
Yeah.
Quite a while, I think it's been a while.
And of course, Rosemary Fisher was the one who started it out.
Oh, yeah.
She was my sister.
Oh, yeah.
And then she got me involved, and Yvonne, my other sister.
Yvonne.
Yeah. And then there was Jean Chauvenat from Cutler. She was involved in it too. And there was a lot of people in the community. I don't remember all their names, but they done cooking, and they would done sewing, and Cecil King was involved. He was the MC most of the...
We have some old reel-to-reel footage of them MCing.
Oh, yeah?
It's here. We just gotta maybe get some pictures together or something, put that on there. Yeah, he did the MCing. Eh?
Yeah, and I used to open the back door because there was a lot of kids couldn't, you know, wanted to get in, and so I'd open the back door and I'd sneak maybe 50 of them inside. They couldn't afford to pay their way, and it wasn't much, but
yeah.
You know, the powwow had to pay for itself. We had to pay all those people to come, their transportation, and feed them.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so a lot of the people in the community were involved.
My brother Wilford brought a group from Detroit. He had a dance group down there that gets interested in dancing, and I communicated with him from out west. So I told him, I said, I would like to get a group and go down and bring them down to Wikwemikong. And so he had a dance group down there in Detroit. So
Fancy dancers, hold your position.
In the early years, what I remember was the arena. We started off in the arena, and you were kind of like on a stage, eh? And so in some ways, it kind of started out almost like a show, all right? And I remember, I don't know if it was in the first year or the second year, might have even been in the first year, because it seems to me I was still in school that first year. I was still in school. And I remember them talking about powwow. And everybody wondering what the heck is a powwow, you know? And it was like one of the word that was out there in the community, if you lived here in Wiki, was it was almost like there was a call for auditions, kegago. Not quite, but it was almost like that, and you're going to audition to do this powwow. I remember that, and but we still didn't even know what it was. Like, were we putting on a show for the tourists or what it was? There was kind of some confusion around that. But what would happen is by the time those days came, we all got it together, and it happened. So it was in the arena, the old arena, and it was on stage in those early years.
Here, 200 dancers registered for the dance competitions, which is a recent addition to the original tradition. Many more did not register as they do not believe in competing with one another. They dance to share their respect for our ancestors, and they celebrate life as the most precious gift from the Creator.
This is what you call a traditional outfit, traditional custom. Even the feathers and the beadwork and the bells and the moccasins, all traditional, all handmade.
Oh yeah, it is. The whole tradition is now coming back, you know, and it's nice to see the young kids dancing. I've got 4 of my kids out there dancing, you know.
The important things to a dancer is to maintain the rhythm and the beat of the drum, and also to know the songs, to know when to stop or twirl, and to do a jump or well, to each individual, they have their own particular styles of dancing, and they do become identified with those aspects.
This afternoon, I just wanted to speak on behalf of my wife. People at Wikwemikong are always very hospitable every year at the powwow, and they always welcome everyone here. And I've been coming up here for about 7 years to powwows and conferences.
What you're seeing here, these dances, is they call them storytellers. While they dance, they have to tell a story of what happened to them during their life, a certain incident, or they're imitating an animal. You watch them, you'll see, you gotta really look at them for a while to watch their feelings. That's how they're interpreting that song they're hearing, through body movements. Yeah, these guys are, that's why I've been a judge a few times before, and this is the one contest I really feel guilty about judging, because what you're seeing there is a man's feelings.
I belong to the Toronto Indian Dance troupe with Wilfred Peltzy, and we would do shows all over the place. I would say we did more shows than powwows. we did shows. And it was a very popular dance group. When, you know, as a group, we had lots of fun together. Yeah, no, we did shows all over, like at Algonquin Park, and so we were called all over. There was some international events where we were the show for international events at the Royal York Hotel, things like that. And but with hoop dancing, we had a hoop dancer, Johnny Esno, in our dance troupe, and Johnny was a great guy, you know, great sense of humor, great showman. And I remember, you know, I guess I was the rebellious female. I always felt like we were the backdrop to Johnny. And that kind of started annoying me, yeah? And, you know, I just decided, well, heck, let me show you a thing or two. I can hoop dance too. And I decided to go right to the people who know about hoop dancing. I went to Tifilo Lucero, who used to come to our powwows. And his son Joey was actually one of the first hoop dancers that came to Wiki. And I learned the traditional hoop dance, which is using 5 hoops, and learning the story behind that hoop dance, the traditional story of the Taos Pueblo people, which, of course, basically you'll hear it these days too, basic story being that those hoops represent problems, obstacles, and trials of life. And as you see the dancer going through those hoops, it also tells a story that no matter what obstacles you face, you can find your way through them. And when you see those 5 hoops go up, you know, when that dancer is twirling and he's got all 5 hoops up, that kind of signifies that you've overcome the obstacles in life, and that there's always a way out. So in essence, it's a sacred dance. So there's a traditional story behind it, and that was the story that I learned. And then you honor that in your integrity. And what Tiflo always taught me, he said, it's not how many hoops you can master. It's your dexterity, and it's the smoothness of your ability to dance to that drum and keep those hoops going. He said it's never how many. So, you know, so I never forgot that, and I hoop dance for quite a few years. You never forget it once you learn it. I remember many years later, probably when I was about 40, I was at a wellness conference in Alberta, and there was hoops there. There was a hoop dancer there, and I picked up 5 hoops just fooling around to see if I could do it. I'll be darned, it just came just like that. I never forgot how to do it. And then over the years, I've watched the emerging hoop dancer movement. I guess maybe that's what you'd call it, a hoop dancer movement. And one of the things that I saw emerging was more and more hoops and more designs made with the hoops. And I think that's wonderful. I think what we have to remember is that cultures change and they evolve with the people. And so as the years have gone by, our dancing, the hoop dance, has also changed. You know, I remember Tiflo saying, you never stop. You never stop. You have to keep it smooth. And, you know, I look at the hoop dancers who still dance with 5 hoops. A lot of them come from the Southwest. They're dancing the old traditional hoop dance. And so, yes, I appreciate the new hoop dancers. I know that, you know, our dancing and our songs are evolving. I know that. I appreciate that because our culture evolves. But I also think it's really important to keep the integrity of that hoop dance.
So you were actually one of the first hoop dancers in Wikwemikong?
Yeah, I was the first hoop dancer in Wikwemikong, female hoop dancer in Canada. And every now and again I'll run into somebody who remembers me from that time, and I always find that quite amusing.
There was another hoop dancer, I think her name was Opal Skinnendor.
Yes, I know Opal, yeah.
From the States?
Yes, yeah, she was on the American side. And also Myrna Akins.
Another hoop dancer?
Myrna, the Akins family that came. Myrna, probably about, I don't know, maybe after year 5 or so, Myrna began hoop dancing. She hadn't hoop danced in those early years, but she began hoop dancing. She was still a young girl, So she became a hoop dancer as well.
I was involved in bringing a group from out there and dancing over here, and so get them interested in here, and pick it up and have our own. powwow as well. And now people from here go to Western dancing, you know, United States and everywhere. And my sister Rosemary was involved very much by taking a group from here and going to Western United States and Canada and taking photographs, and so they saw the movements on there, and people started getting, and everybody, and the Indian dancing is all individually. Develop your own style, dance similar to somebody else, and mix
That's
it
how
up.
you learn, I guess.
Yes, and so people are so interested because they don't know just who to watch there. Even we as powwow dancers didn't know just which one. Look at the way that guy does it. And it was amazing, and people so interested in it because of that, the individual style dancing.
Is that how you got started? Or just by watching and...
Yeah, that's how I got involved with, so my goodness, I didn't realize it was that fantastic. See?
Well, we did the partridge dance, which is a courting dance, which was always lots of fun. The two-step, the dance that is now called a two-step, that used to be called the rabbit dance. And in a lot of the old traditional powwows, it's still called the rabbit dance, okay? And then we also had some showmanship in and away from dancing. Like one of the things Johnny would do would be the many uses of an Indian blanket. And that was always very, very funny and made the people laugh, And we also did the snake dance. The snake dance was really popular for any number of years